Do you guys want me to record the MR guide right now? Impromptu it, no script. Yes? Okay, alright, let's fucking go. So basically, that intro is gonna be part of the YouTube video. You guys know what we're about to do right now. The number one thing in order to get really easy high MR is gonna take some organization, and this is something that you're gonna have to do when you are part of a guild. Is you go into the auto shop, you go to the diamond shop, you go into consumable, and you should buy the weekly bloody branches. You can buy 7 of these a week using like just diamonds. So imagine you have 100 people in your guild and each person buys 7. So then you just have 700 bloody branches. That's 700 minis that you now have access to that you wouldn't have otherwise. And the reason why you want to do this as early as possible is because at certain points in time, certain minis get phased out. So you want to do this as early as possible, weekly if you have to. If you have some whales in your guild that are willing to sponsor some bloody branches, absolutely get that done. So that's step 1, right? Like that's the fastest, easiest MR that you're going to be able to do. So on to the next part is, after all that is said and done, how do I decide between what MR to go for? So number 1 is you usually want to go to places where there are multiple mobs. Like a prime example of that would be the map in Southern Payon, right? Because in Southern Payon, if you look at the map here, okay, world map, let's go to Southern Payon, right? Click info, click monster, and you can see that you have your pupa, your faber, your chancha, your porings, and your willow in there. And if you go back to your monster archive, guess who's in the same row together? The pupa, the faber, the willow. So now you're about to complete 3 out of 5 of this row. And then if you look at the bonuses, right? If everything reaches level 1, 300 points. If level 2, 500 points. Level 3, 800 points, 1200. Generally, you want to start off easy. You want to start off by getting them to like level 3 or 4. But if you're staying there overnight with a party, chances are you might just get to like level 5. You want to do these first, right? And then after you're done with this, you can choose like, oh, do I want to do Savage Babe or do I want to do like Wormtail, right? So let's say like I decide to do Wormtail. What's in the Wormtail map? Wormtail map, I'll tell you right now the map that it's in. This guy is also in there, the Spore. So now, if you do Bloody Branches right now, like while mastering still spawns, you can get this guy to 10. So now you can guarantee the supposed to be like hardest part of this row, you can easily max by having organized BB runs. Now you only have to worry about these things. Now in the first map, we know back here when we were killing these 3, who also was on the map with them? Pouring, right? So now you also have Pouring MR. And then in order to complete this, like, you know, you need these 2. So you're gonna go into the map where Wormtail is, and then Wormtail also has this Spore right here. So you've already handled these 2. If you're doing Bloody Branches, you also have this guy mastering. And guess what? These 2 right here, they're both on the same map as well. So you can kind of see like where the chain is, right? Like that's how, like, if you want to be efficient, you kind of have to think of it that way. So right now it's like, let's say that you get this guy up there, okay? Like now we only need this guy, but after you complete this guy, you've already set up, because of the previous choices of MR that you went to, you've already set up these 2 for success. So now once you want to complete this like set right here, you only need to kill these 2. And because these 2 are on the same map, just another overnight of these 2 will get them to a high enough level so that you can get all these bonuses over here. Let's say next spot is Savage Bay. Where is Savage Bay located? Prontera Westgate, Eastern Geffen, right? Do I want to do Westgate? What's in Prontera Westgate? It's going to be Willow again, but the most important one is Rocker. So let's say that you choose that. Now you also complete the Rocker area, because guess what? These 2, they're going to be in the same map. So now you've also completed majority of this already. And guess what? The Muka, if you look at the location, Sograt, when you're trying to do this map, let's say like you're going to Sograt, right? Let's go to Sograt Desert. Let's go to info. Let's go to monster. Guess who's in here with them? Magnolia and Peko Peko. So you can also, while you're killing Muka, you could be in a party that's killing these guys as well. So guess what? You're hitting, with a full party, you're hitting like 4 other mobs besides your goal. So what does that mean? That means you're also completing MR for other areas as well, right? You're completing MR for these guys right here. Or you go to fire, you go to Peko Peko, you're completing it for this guy right here. And if you do BB, you also have this leveled up already. If you do MVPs, you're gonna have this level up. And then eventually you're gonna try to complete these as well in the future. But that's generally how you want to do your MR. You want to plan it out in advance. It's like, okay, like these three, same map. Let me do these first. And like, okay, if I do this guy, these two are not in the same map, but the mobs that are in the same map as them is going to set me up for my future MR targets. You know, like this right here. As soon as you get this guy done, you're gonna complete this set right here. When you go into the map with Hydra and Plankton, guess who else is in that map? Frog is gonna be in there. Marina is gonna be in there. So you've already set up this, and now you're thinking about like, okay, well, let's say Toad was one of the more lower level mobs, and it probably got phased out already. What do I do now? Guess what you can do? The same map that this Frog is in, and this Pouring is in, is also the same map where the Toad spawns. So let's say you missed out on it, right? You can actually get to Eastern Geffen, and you can AFK there with your party, figure out where Toad spawns. So if he spawns and you hit him, you actually get MR from them as well. So now you've leveled your Pouring a lot further. You're also leveling your Frog, and you're also by default you're leveling your Toad as well. And since in order to complete these, you need to kill these two. You've also completed these two as well. Now you only need what? Marine Sphere? Guess what else is in the map with Marine Sphere? Cornutus is in there, Obion is in there, Mars is in there, you know what I mean? So you can kind of see like how completing a row always leads to completing some of another row, right? So that's how you want to think about it, and that's how you want to kind of scale how you MR something. And that's pretty much how I ended up getting to the current MR that I am right now. As the server level gets higher and higher, it gets easier to get those bursts of MR that you need to get to the next level. And I mean, that's pretty much it, right? It's like you get your MR done. That's it. It's like you get stats for leveling your MR, right? And you get like specimen and the dolls that you can make. You can farm to, you know, get these costumes like crafted. Even if you don't plan on using them, you can still put them in your fashion. Get your fashion levels up. Get stats for that as well. And that's why MRing is such a important and such a huge thing. And if you were ever curious as to how to do that and how to plan out your MRing, that's one of the ways that you can do. And probably the best thing that you can do as well is always do MR with a 5-man party if possible. Leave your party like open, farm with a group of 5, because like every person's kill in that group of 5 counts towards your MR. And just also a quick tip, because sometimes it gets buggy. Just make sure that these two, like this is, well, I mean, at least this one right here is checked, so that after you're done with your MR, you can get, it'll bring you back to town, and you don't end up spending your CT in, you know, in Pourings or something. But yeah, that's it. That's pretty much like how you tackle MRing in this game. There's not a lot of thought into it, but the advantages that you get by doing it is pretty insane. It's not just the stats that you get from doing MR, it's also the costumes, which if you want the stats for them, good. If you want the look, you know, fashion is endgame. And, you know, if you don't want them, stuff them in your wardrobe, and then you can get fashion levels as well, and more stats and more items from leveling that.